and foremost, thank you to all of you. Shiva, you've come from Bangalore, so you're probably the shortest distance. But Deepen, Othman, thank you so much for joining us here at Waves, and thank you so much for participating with us. And I'm really looking forward to the conversation. Just to set some context about the market and what excites us most and what has led us to actually creating this topic. Interactive media and entertainment and gaming is what we as a fund call new media. If you were to look at the media entertainment pie in India, it's about a $25 billion bucket. Half of it is what we call old media. It's television, it's box office, it's print, it's out of home media. But then there is this new wave of entertainment which is being led by digital media, video streaming, audio streaming, gaming, animation, VFX, esports, which is growing at a 20% CAGR. And that is expected to be a $30 billion market over the next 3 to 5 years. And this has largely been predicated by a few factors. The first has been obviously the proliferation of smartphones in India. The second has been the data wave, where an average Indian is consuming about 31 gigabytes of data a month. And of course, UPI. How can we not talk about UPI unlocking monetization, especially in the last 2 to 3 years? But the biggest factor that excites us is that 50% of India's population, especially internet population, is under 25. And when you are to look around in your daily life, forget the numbers. When you're at an airport, when you're at a train station, when you're just standing in a department store, you'll see people either doing one of two things: playing games or actually watching video content. And gaming is actually the fastest growing slice of the interactive media pie. It's growing at 30% year on year. And gaming, the big headline, and this is there in our research report that we launched yesterday, it's 3 times as big as Bollywood. And it actually exceeds cricket revenues. So a industry which is just about 4 years old in its institutional journey is already a $3.8 billion market. And with that, I'm going to open it up to the panel to start getting their views. And I think, let me start with you, Dipen. India, and we're co-investors in some really exciting businesses. You've obviously been tracking the market, and India's at an inflection point for interactive media, right? We've seen now content platforms emerge like a Pocket FM, like a Elo, where we're co-investors, a ShareChat come through. We've also seen players in skill-based gaming, Gamescraft, etc., really now start to see the Indian user monetize. How is this, I guess, momentum shaping your investment thesis on the market, and what excites you?
Yeah, thank you, Saloni. So I think you said it best, which is the size of gaming is growing massively over the last 4 or 5 years, not just India, but globally. So I think taking a step back, one thing we have to realize is gaming is one of the most ubiquitous forms of entertainment in the world. But when you talk to most people in the world about gaming, they still view it as a small industry. So if you go to a random individual and say, "Hey, I invest in gaming," they say, "Oh, that's interesting, that's cute." Everyone's focused on AI, everyone's focused on these huge generational platform shifts, but we miss out on the fact that gaming is actually one of the least expensive forms of content and entertainment in the world. As Saloni said, when you see someone sitting in an airport, they're either watching YouTube or a video, listening to music, or they're playing a game. This is obviously in India, but globally that we see. And so our thesis very much is, and Othman and I were just speaking about this, is how do people identify with, right? So most people don't say anymore, and I gave them the example, no one says, I love enterprise SaaS. They say, I love this game. I'm a gamer. I collect this. I love this sport. We are just starting to see that becoming a form of content and entertainment. So we very much, from the lens of gaming, look at it as entertainment, right? So gaming, as much as it's growing in India, I think we have barely seen the monetization of gaming today. So right now you can invest in IP, you can invest in distribution. The way we're thinking about the market is how do we get more content into the hands of younger individuals and have more personalized content? Because the more personalized content is and the more interesting the content is to individuals, the more the willingness to pay. And so, we've been fortunate to invest in companies like Elo with Saloni and Lumikai. I think our thesis on Elo is very clear, which is we believe they can be the biggest distribution platform of content, whether it's gaming or general entertainment, into the India market and ecosystem. So as we look at more investments in India, we're very much thinking about platforms, right? You think about how do you get more into the hands of the average individual. YouTube has done an unbelievable job in India. It is one of their largest markets, but not because they're making the most amount of money in India. It's because the sheer demand for the content is almost higher than anywhere else in the world. And so you start with the demand, and then you think about monetization. So a lot of investors who don't spend a lot of time in India, they might knock India because the ARPUs are much lower in India. But I think they're missing the big story, which is you have to look at volume. India is one of the most unique places in the world that if you think about volume and you think about how you are still in the infancy of monetization, that's where the biggest opportunities in our mind lie.
Thank you. And I think, I'm going to take that a little bit further, and I'll come to you, Shiva. Shiva, you're wearing 3 different hats at the moment. You're wearing an investor hat. You run one of the most profitable skill-based gaming companies in the country. And you guys are also now exploring acquisitions and global markets, as well as looking at the India market actively. In fact, you're also a co-investor with us as well. How has the market and the current dynamics shaped your both operating strategy, but also your investing strategy as Gamescraft?
The way we look at it, right? We see, as Saloni, you pointed out very clearly, there is a penetration of bandwidth or access to mobile. What we see from our end, we're running the largest skill-based gaming company, is the rise of Bharat. Right? And we all discounted in the last 10, 15 years the propensity of Bharat to pay. But I think UPI enabled that. So in the first wave of digital, right, when India saw the first wave of digital, it was the classifieds moving. It was more of free information coming in, enabling consumers to take action, right? Second wave was e-commerce, which penetration was limited because of payment. Bharat didn't participate in that way because it was only dependent on COD, right? While what happened with UPI and the wave of social and gaming coming in is Bharat could participate. And that is 70-80% of the population. Now, there it is the DAU, MAU, which is the lead indicator, not the value of the transaction, right? Or the volume of business. But that changed post-pandemic. A couple of things happened there. People probably migrated from urban centers to, or their commute started more from urban. Like today, most of there are the 5 or 6 cities where large population of earning population stays as in urban pockets, if you look at it. Post-pandemic, most of the migrant population which went to these cities to work started having 2 days in city, 3 days in Bharat, right? Now they took back a lot of these things. That's what we see as a great opportunity for us, right? The third thing, from a gaming lens, gaming and socializing have gotten married. This is what we see, right? Like when I see my 10-year-old son, he goes out to play, but his socializing happens on Roblox, connecting with his school friends, with his classmates. That's where his chatting is happening. He spends 2 to 3 hours. Now we believe that the thesis is Bharat plus gaming and social coming together. And in fact, one of our investment into the common company, which is Elo, is that theory. You marry this, you see a great potential. UPI payment potential. UPI, I think the latest one is AutoPay, right? Which has kicked in a great amount of monetization. Today we see content companies or social companies which is doing a monthly run rate of 100 crores or 150 crores, primarily on the back of UPI. Because credit card penetration is not going to, I mean, we have lived that particular wave. And Bharat was never ready for a credit card. Right? Credit or loan for our regular usage was never as a concept in Bharat. It's an urban concept, right? So that's where we look at marrying these 3, 4 ideas. And that's where we see a great potential in India. That's how we would look at investing.
Let me switch gears to you, Othman. With Mirak, you guys were early pioneers in the Saudi ecosystem, laying the tech digital infrastructure. Given the capital, the infrastructure, and now major policy support in KSA, right? What do you see are the biggest opportunities for a collaboration with India with Saudi companies? And what, I guess, excites you about the adjacencies of the market, about either Indian companies tapping into the Saudi market?
First, would like to thank you for the invite. It's truly a great opportunity for me and for the team to explore the country, to see people. And definitely one of the key things that we focused on is building relationship with investors, with the community, with the startup community, in order for us to refine our thesis. But let me get back to our thesis. Generally, it's not a thesis driven by us only. It's a thesis that was driven by an ecosystem strategy or a plan that was led by the government. The government put together the supply chain, and they mandated us for the early stage mandate. And we're refining the thesis and we're studying the market and the changes in the market in order to deliver the return required or needed by our investors. Why India? I think India is one of the best opportunity for us in gaming for multiple reasons. One of the core beliefs, and I think it's not our belief, it's maybe all investors in the sectors or in the sector, gaming sector, sees that is you need to be very efficient in game development. And we strongly believe that startups coming from India will get that right, and they will create an opportunity for alpha for the fund. So that's a big part of our thesis. A second part is we believe AI, along with other factors, but AI will contribute to the efficiency of delivering great games with strong appeal to the local market in India, and hopefully also has an appeal for the global market. And one of the top games in Apple Store played in the Saudi market is a game that was developed, I think one or two, is developed in India. So we strongly believe, and there is validation that developing to the local market, but definitely tapping into the international is another factor. A third factor of our interest in the Indian market, I would say, the cultural depth. There is a strong cultural depth in the Indian culture, and we believe that has a strong appeal to the MENA region, but definitely to the international markets. So we're putting together some of our team in India to explore that. We're still in the early stage building relationships, so this is the first year of deployment. So far, we're close to investing in 25 companies. Part of them very early, and 5 are a bit later. But I expect us to end the year with around maybe I would say between the 30 and 40 companies, and I think that's within our targets, and hopefully we achieve it. And we're looking for partners in order to achieve more. And one of the things that we strongly believe is we need to revise our thesis every year because the market is, just changing and the dynamics around the market are changing. So this is one of the things that we care about is always staying in touch with the market, staying in touch with the participants in the market in order to learn more. And we've hired people who are more expert than myself and my partner in order to keep us up to date.
You talked about AI, and Deepen, you and I were just having a conversation about use of AI and how it's being used across the board, whether it's content extension in terms of whether it could be film production, whether it is content expansions to be able to take dormant IPs and extend the life. But we're also seeing AI in game development, in art generation. How, when you think about AI and when you parse through companies in India and you evaluate them from an investor lens, A, what is the edge that you believe Indian founders have? And B, are there any constraints or challenges, or is there a delta between global players and Indian players in terms of the way they're using AI?
Yeah, look, I think AI is it's in everything we do. It is every product out there has some integration of AI. If it doesn't, they're probably in trouble at this stage. I think the way we look at AI from a gaming and entertainment lens, and why India is deep technical prowess, right? When you think about the understanding and ability of developing really unique integrations of AI, we don't invest at the foundational LLM models, but we're looking more at vertical applications when we think about AI use. We're constantly thinking about areas like content distribution. We have an investment in the Middle East that is in language translation, right? So how do you, again, get products into the hands of more people? As Saloni and I were talking about earlier, the idea of whether it's digital twins, the use of AI, whether you're thinking about the use of AI for content extension. Really, what are you trying to do? You're trying to take something that is limited to a certain small subset of people and make it more accessible. So the accessibility game in a country like India, where you have not only 500 million monthly mobile gamers, but you have such a strong connected, whether it's using Wi-Fi digital infrastructure, you have such a connected country. You're always thinking about how can you use AI to get into more hands and then from there monetize. Similar story in the Middle East. I mean, we were speaking about Saudi. Saudi is one of the most interesting countries to me in the world because when you think about what exists today versus what existed even a few years ago, you see rapid growth and development. So we're constantly looking for markets where there's rapid growth and development, where AI is a tool. The idea of AI and investing into, companies, and I'm sure everyone sees the headlines, a company raising $2 billion, $5 billion, $50 billion, $100 billion. These are far and few between. A lot of AI companies will also fail. I think we have to fully accept that. But where we see AI use really taking off already and where we want to continue investing is in areas where AI is a part of the application.
Shiva, this is a question, for you, because I know at Gamescraft there is such a strong tech culture, right? In fact, Gamescraft was incorporated in 2017. It was actually one of the last few players to be incorporated in the skill-based gaming ecosystem, completely bootstrap business. But yet it is now 50% of the industry in terms of 50% or 45% in terms of profit.
Profits we are much larger.
Oh, okay, 85%, but 45% by revenue. And I've always been impressed about the technology and product focus. How are you guys thinking about AI? Is this a conversation that you guys are having internally? And I know this is something that you and I talk about a lot. This is kind of, you're looking at it from an investor lens as well. Talk us through that.
So for us, I mean, the way we look at the whole company is built around consumer centricity. And for us, the skill-based business, we believe, like any other business, anything what we do should go towards building trust on us from a consumer's point of view. That's what it is. For us, AI/ML, I think 2017 when we launched, we were the first one to give same-day withdrawal. And that's what we believe was one of the key success factor for us, right? And continuous focus on building trust amongst the consumers. Now that is enabled by AI. So for example, we have a engine which can detect any anomaly amongst the gameplay or any fraud at real time. It's called SpadeNet. It is built on AI's ability to detect if there is any collision happening amongst the games. And these kind of, second, for our KYC process is the smoothest. That's because of the AI. The way we look at any of these tech innovation is not from a jargon or a hype perspective. What is it that it can do for my consumers? And that's how we look at it. Even today, when I were to connect into my investment philosophy, right? I think Ottoman touched a brilliant point of cultures in India, right? India, unlike any other country, is culturally so rich that we had since 1950s or 1960s 4 to 5 film industries in this country. Right? We had a Bollywood. We had a very thriving. We still have the most thriving southern. All 4 states have 4 different movie industry, unlike any other country. No country has. It's not a homogeneous country. It's a heterogeneous country. Now add the tech layer. You walk into you travel 100 kilometers, dialect changes, culture changes, food changes. And that's where we see the power of AI/ML. Can we create content which is so customized? And look at it from an economy point of view. 50 years back or 40 years back or 60 years back, it was not the case. But today, each state is potentially somewhere between 50 to $1 trillion economy in the making. 50 billion or 100 billion, give or take. I mean, I'm just giving a ballpark number. Now, each state is a different culture. Each culture needs its content, needs its game, has its own flavor. And that is where we believe AI/ML is going to add great power, right? Will enhance the ability for us to customize, personalize everything to the consumer. That's how we look at any tech platform. In fact, our fraud detection engine, SpadeNet, is recognized globally. We won the award in Singapore IEEE, and that's how we have built it. We use Tenet as a core platform which enables us to launch any new game within 3 weeks. Is because we use tech to reduce friction, right, from a consumer point of view. So KYC, payment gateway, success rate, all these are enabled seamlessly to any new game. That's our power. That's how we look at technology or AI.
And Othman, I'll come back to you on this. Because you initiated this with AI, and I know in Saudi there is a big push. Again, a lot of policy support with respect to AI. How are you seeing that trend, at least in the region? And are there already breakouts, at least in interactive content, gaming, esports, that you're seeing AI really being used for?
Sure, and I'll try to stay relevant to the relationship with India. So definitely, when it comes to the application side of it, or it comes to the regulation side of it, or the subsidy of the government, all that is easy, but access to talent was a bit challenging, and the infrastructure was also another challenge. One of our portfolio companies, because this is a real example, our successful example, we haven't implemented anything related to gaming yet, but this company works at the computer vision application, cameras, and trying to turn pictures into relevant data and then sell the applications to the government. So 2 years ago, we started this. We were trying to hire some talent, and we were tapping into some very good talent from Bangalore and Hyderabad. So we integrated our sales team with some of our consulting team, along with some of the talent from India. And successfully, we have closed a few good projects in our competition. We're now competing with European companies. So I would say it's moving in a very good direction. What's I would say we're behind is infrastructure and talent, and the government is putting a lot of initiatives related to talent, where they will subsidize, global talent to some extent, and also there are big initiative around data centers and modern data centers and AI, but it will require probably some time in order for that to mature. But definitely, Saudi Arabia wants to be, to play a role there, and they want to take a global position, not necessarily local. So hopefully we can see our servers serving the Indian market very soon. And I think we have an example of some application, Chinese application, being served in the Saudi market, and I look forward, maybe to doing something in India related to that domain.
Yeah, I mean, it's a clarion call for founders sitting in this room to think about Saudi as a key market and give lots of adjacencies, right? Yesterday I was at the, or day before, was at the inauguration with where Prime Minister Modi actually talked about storytelling, animation, VFX, gaming, content creation, the creator economy now becoming national priorities, in fact. And this is the core principle of Waves, and initiating that and bringing investors such as yourself to look at the market. When I think, I'm a keen gamer, used to be a gamer, growing up as well. Personally, I hate the word gamer. I don't identify with it. It's almost, and as Deepen, you said, it's so ubiquitous. We don't call ourselves moviers. When we all watch movies, but nobody says, hey, I'm a movier, I simply don't understand why gaming or gamers is a different label that you need to have. And if you were to think about it, every successful consumer-facing experience is actually a game mechanic in disguise, right? Chat originated from the original 4chan. Your likes and badges of Facebook were actually all in the 80s being used in games. Your collectibles was from RuneScape. So now we're seeing gaming immersion, interactivity, personalization is almost a given. And we're seeing this play out in any kind of consumer facing app. We're seeing this now in the rise of micro dramas, where you're leaving consumers at cliffhangers, and then there's an autoplay which then takes the consumer to the, and people are paying, and there's subscriptions which are monetizing now, and there's a lot of game mechanics. We've talked about Duolingo. It's a game in disguise. Robinhood is a game in disguise. I mean, a lot of people would say the stock market is a game in disguise, right? How do each one of you actually think about this when you're thinking about investing in, let's say, consumer-facing experiences or game mechanics? And I'll throw it open to any one of you.
Sure, I can start because I just complained to him about that. One of the methods of investment is to see yourself and your personal, spending around certain stuff. And I was, surprised to see my son and my some of the kids in the family. They request, rewards for certain things that they do. They take the money, and what do you want? He doesn't want money. They want cards or prepaid cards for certain games. And it's all for skins. They want, to customize the character. They want to look cool, and it's not looking cool, physically, looking cool digitally. And I think this is something that is very attractive for investors. Since I'm spending my money in that, I rather be, take the position of an investor. So definitely, it's an area of growth. Area for opportunity, and I think we didn't see the full extent of it yet, but definitely we need to keep an open eye to what's happening. I think this is there is a strong emergence of the digital identity, and we need to be up to date with that. Also, another comment, and I think I want to go back to culture. I think I want my kids or the family around me to adapt to styles relevant to me or to our culture. So it's an invite as well, for all culture to embrace that initiative and also push their, way of dressing or life into the digital world, so our next generation can be proud and they adapt to it. So that's I think an important initiative, and I encourage everyone to to play a part in that.
Sure. I think, two areas. When you think about gamification beyond games, so whether it's Duolingo and others, a lot of these things were integrated in as retention hooks, right? So gamification at its simplest form is entertainment. And in addition to that, how do you keep people coming back over and over? The greatest games, like we can compare from console games, are very different from mobile games versus the gamification of an educational product. We were talking about Duolingo earlier. Duolingo's brilliance is in their streaks. The idea that you identify as someone who has this streak that you don't want to let go has been one of the biggest drivers of their growth itself. So really what you're doing is you're empowering people. The empowerment of using gamification and how people identify with that empowerment to say, I have 52 weeks of streaks, or your kid's buying skins. This is all a part of their identity. How do you empower their identity of what they relate to? And so I think we're going to see, to your point, we won't even call it gamification in a few years. It's just going to be integrated into the mechanics of all these different products. So I think, the way we're looking at it very much is how do you empower individuals, whether it's a creator economy, whether it's, an educational app. We all have to think about gaming very much as a tool. And the further and further we go into investing into gaming, I don't think, we'll talk about a gaming fund at the end of the day. I think it will very much be a much broader lens of looking at gaming as a tool across every industry.
I think, do we need to answer this question? Gaming is there, right?
Answer the question of the billion-dollar bet, then, from your perspective.
See, for us, the way we look at youth, youngsters, or the digital natives, or whatever we call them, right, it is ubiquitous. You just can't get away without gaming. I mean, gamification across e-commerce, everything is there, right? Everybody is trying to attract and create a hook, right? And this is what it is. I don't know whether we need to, how deeply we have to go. That's natural for us.
Well, thank you so much. I've been told that time is up, but just to summarize, right, the title of this was called Billion Dollar Bets. 4 years later, our projections are that this interactive media industry is going to be a $30 billion market. It is a complete blue ocean. There are a number of category leaders that are going to be built. And if you were to ask me personally, I believe that the future of media is increasingly interactive, it's immersive, and it's personalized. And the next 10 years will look nothing like the last 10 years. And if you guys are interested in learning more, we have launched a research report called From Swipes to Stories, where we've identified consumer behavior and demographic trends, which is up on the Lumikai website. So please do go take a look at it. We've also have it here for our speakers. But thank you so much.